This week on the Virtual Skeptics. Bob swears it wasn't a goat. He was a bully. And Barb is playing the odds. I'm your host, Brian Gregory. Waiting for the... I'm always amazed that people take what I say seriously. I don't even take
No, we don't.
Sorry, that was my little attempt at a David Bowie tribute. That's a famous David Bowie quote. In case you didn't know, he passed away this past week. And
what?
Some of us are kind of broken up about it. I never met the guy, unfortunately, but I will never have a chance to meet the guy, so that's kind of the thing. Anyway, welcome to the show. This is another one. We're doing another one. Yeah, we're still doing another one.
You can't stop us.
You can't stop us. Let me introduce the crew. We're down short one person this week, but we've got Barb. So everything is awesome. This guy is Bob. Bob Laskowitz, CSI's conspiracy guy, web columnist, blogger for Skeptical Humanities, and Skepticality contributor. And this is Eve Sieber, editor and blogger at Skeptical Humanities and contributor to Skepticality and Insight at skeptic.com. And finally, and especially, Barbara Drescher, former psychology instructor, blogger for ICBS Everywhere, and contributor to numerous skeptical projects, including Insight at skeptic.com and The Odds Must Be Crazy, which I like saying that way. I'm going to say it that way from now on.
Please.
Yes, because that's fun. Hi, guys.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hello. Welcome, one and all, to our little sking. That was not English.
It was mock something or other.
Mock something or other.
Mock some accent.
Yes. You want to know who Vil Krentwit is? I'm asking the people on the video.
Man.
Yeah, he just keeps. For some reason, we get our video stream gets retweeted by whoever the heck that is, and it's bothering me. So make it stop.
Because you don't know who it is?
Yeah, I don't know. Some weird Twitter account. If anybody can let me know, that would be worth something.
Can you block them?
I don't know. I'll worry about it later. What's the trivia question? We do a trivia question every week. And we hope that you guys listening can get it and tweet it or comment it on the YouTube or whatever, and we will give you credit. Unfortunately, Tim's not here this week, so I'm going to give it to Bob. Can you do the trivia question?
Sure.
Yes? Since you did the research.
Actually, this was Eve's, but...
Oh. I'm
Eve,
sorry.
You should probably take it.
I didn't give you the credit.
So in 2006 or so, the last record...
2011.
Oh, well, it's close enough.
Yeah.
They're not going to know.
But are you going to give the answer or are you going to give a question?
No, I'm going to...
Because it sounds like you were starting to give the answer.
No.
It's badly written, so...
No, and now I was thinking, like... Since I clearly can't do this...
Okay, I have it up now.
All right.
Okay. Yay.
On this day, January 13th, in 2011, India experienced its last case of which disease?
I'm going to say cooties.
Cooties runs rampant.
You gave it away.
Yeah. Is there...
Nobody from India has cooties anymore, so...
Yeah. What's the treatment for cooties? Do you have to, like, take a bath or something, or do you have to... Is it a...
I don't know. I think you have to dance around a little bit.
When I was a kid, cooties was lice. That's what they meant.
Oh, it's
incurable. That's not what
incurable.
it means anymore, so...
So cooties is... there you go. You learn something every week on the show. Cooties is incurable. Damn it. I need to notify my partners. That was a joke.
Oh, Edmund, it's not a goat, is it?
No. No. There's no way that anybody watching is going to tell what the hell's on the monitors behind me. But if you do, then you're magic, and you need to apply for the $1 Million Challenge.
Why can't we see your monitor this time?
It's just dim and very
Dim.
low contrast.
Hmm.
Yes, I apologize. Anyway, if you get that, then, like I said, we'll test you for psychic power on the show live. Who's first? Barbara's first.
That would be me.
Yay! Barbara's going to talk to us about the lottery.
Yeah, but actually, first I'm going to talk about David Bowie.
Oh, sweet.
Because this is actually something that Bob sent me and asked me to talk about because it was really interesting, and I find it really interesting. I don't really have a lot to add to it, but it's a great blog post that Bob found. It's a gut check. Sharon Begley wrote this piece. David Bowie died days after his birthday and album release. Did he delay his own death?
Oh.
So the question is, or the claim is that people on the verge of death due to a chronic illness can delay their demise by a few days, allowing them to, for instance, spend the last holiday with loved ones, see a child marry, or celebrate a last birthday, as David Bowie did 2 days before dying of cancer on Sunday. So she actually looked at some research that tried to show that people with chronic illness can delay for holidays. So they looked at death rates, before and after things like Hanukkah. They looked at, among Jews, or Passover among Jews, and other holidays among Christian populations and things like that. And there are some studies that have been done. Some show that there was an effect, and they're flawed, and some show that there's no effect. So it doesn't look like that's what's happening. It doesn't look like within a population you can show that. But I think that, and she actually goes on to talk about this a little bit. She talks about anecdotes that are somewhat kind of undeniable. And I honestly think this is one of those cases where you're not going to be able to show it by looking at a population like that maybe it's not about holidays, but things like people waiting to die until someone can get to the hospital, until they can say goodbye to someone. Or one of the anecdotes that she brings up is, let's see, Dr. Joseph Andrews, a veteran, a medicine specialist now at Greenwich Hospital in Connecticut, said there's quite a bit of evidence for some control over the precise timing of death. He had one pancreatic cancer patient a few years ago, whose wife was entitled to a significantly higher survivor's pension if he lived into January 1st. On New Year's night, Andrews recalled, a nurse wished the patient Happy New Year. He asked her the time. It's 1:10, she told him. He thanked her, and 15 minutes later he was dead. Andrews is certain that the patient willed himself into New Year to help his wife financially. And there's lots and lots of anecdotes like this. She concluded that if death takes a holiday for birthdays or Passover or anything else, the effect is too small to reliably show up in statistics, but a few individuals at the end of their lives can and do choose to hang on for a few more days. And I've heard enough of these stories in my life that I actually believe it. And I think that there is some aspect to, or some truth to the matter that our attitudes can control some of our physiology enough that people might be able to do that. So I don't know. It's one of those weird things that, I don't know that it's a general effect, that a lot of people die after a holiday, because that doesn't seem to be the case.
We're in the middle of the post-Christmas population collapse right now.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said because you froze.
We're in the middle of the post-Christmas population crash right now.
Yeah, we should be.
Post-Christmas, post-Hanukkah, post-Kwanzaa.
But there's, then there's the
Pre-Valentine's Day crash.
There's plenty of anecdotes of people dying on the holiday or just before the
There's this whole
holiday.
depression thing that goes. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I think it would be mythical, or wouldn't be accurate to say that people hang on, through a holiday. But that doesn't mean that individuals, there aren't cases of individuals that have probably prolonged their life until.
Like, is there a mechanism for it other than
I'm not a
you
doctor,
know what I mean?
but
Like,
there's plenty of evidence that that our mental states have a huge effect on our physical states, and there's plenty of evidence for that. So, an exact mechanism, I don't know, but
Huh.
I think that you can fight for your life if you've got something, especially when we're talking about chronic illnesses or dying basically of old age. I think there's some truth to it.
The questions I have are first off, for the anecdotes, there's a certain amount of self-selection going on there, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
there is.
You're more likely to tell a story about something miraculous or seemingly miraculous.
Yeah.
So you're going to hear more stories about people who die shortly after something important. The other thing is, isn't there always something important? Isn't there always a holiday or a birthday or someone?
Yeah, there is, and I think that's why looking at holidays and birthdays and things like that it isn't going to show you anything, because who cares if they're
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard
95 and 3/4 or 96 years old. Now, if you're almost 100, maybe you'll hang on to reach 100. I don't know, but if it's not a significant birthday, I don't know why you would, unless there's some financial gain, like the story about the man who stayed alive for his wife.
Yeah, I think don't know how you would measure that.
The question really is can it happen? And I think there are enough anecdotes to show that it probably can. I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I believe it.
I remember this. My family had a dog that expired, and my mom was convinced that the dog had hung on so she could get home from choir practice. And I didn't challenge that, but I didn't exactly believe that either.
It's possible. Well, okay, so that I didn't think there was a whole lot to say about it, but I thought it was a really interesting piece.
And then how would we know if they would die anyway? You know what I mean? Like, what are you measuring it against?
That's the real problem. Is you can't have counterfactuals for individual cases. You can only really only look at populations. And how do you look at populations when we're talking about significant things within things that are so personal, like
we should poison twins. I think that's probably the way to do it.
Well, what if they're hanging on to
give them both cancer? I don't.
I wonder if you could do a retrospective study on twins, or no, I guess because twins wouldn't even work, because it's personal enough that it would have to be important to the individual. Whether it's twin or not is really irrelevant. So it
would have to be something significant that they were hanging on for that they wouldn't have been able to otherwise, and not everybody's going to have that. So anyway, the other topic I wanted to talk about is of course the big news of today, and that is the Powerball.
Yes.
Mania.
Did anybody here buy a ticket?
I don't know. I didn't
No?
know. My husband might have, but I doubt it.
No, I did not buy a ticket. I much rather would be struck by lightning.
You would.
We could arrange that.
Which it is more likely.
No, we can't.
Especially if you put yourself, out there for that. Well, I wrote a post for Insight this week, and it's fascinating because it's not like this topic isn't being written about to death.
Yeah.
But I really think it's an interesting question whether it's rational to play the lottery, and because normally it's not. It's just not. And I'll say that right out, and I didn't say that in the post, but I'll say this right out. Normally, on any given day, it is not a rational choice to play the lottery, because the payoff, even though the jackpots are large, they never match the risk, because the risk is the probability of it happening is so freaking small that you have to have these enormous jackpots to even make it a rational bet. But I think it's really interesting that when we talk about whether or not it's a good idea to play a game, we have this criteria that we use, and we use this, and it works very well on the small scale. It can tell you whether or not you should play craps or roulette. You should always play craps, by the way. Craps has really, really good odds. It's never over a house edge, though. You never get to a point where it's a fair bet. When we're talking about the full bet. Craps, though, is really interesting because craps is a multi-step game, and so you have these bets like the pass, which are not quite a fair bet, but then after a point is established, it becomes a fair bet. So it's very, very close. So there's a very low house edge with craps. There's a very big house edge with roulette. Roulette's one of the worst games you can play. It's also one of the easiest games you can play. Slot machines are one of those things that are unpredictable because slot machines, today's slot machines, can actually be programmed by the proprietor to return a proportion according to whatever the proprietor wants. Some of them can even be programmed to return a positive amount, so more than what you put in. So, but you can't know. You can't know when you sit down at a slot machine what the payout is supposed to be. And it's only the payout over a long period of time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting about the lottery is there's something called a progressive slot machine if you've never played slot machines. And those are usually done in banks, so there's usually several machines. And what that does is there's a jackpot that gains over time. And so what you're now doing is you're no longer interested in that single bet, but you're playing off of the house edge is gathered over time, and so you are only playing for a certain amount of time, and so your jackpot that you might get is gleaned from many, many previous bets. And this is what happens with the lottery when a jackpot rolls over. When a jackpot rolls over, you're now the house has collected its a lot of its edge already. And those people are no longer in the game. So you're basically gleaning the benefits of other people's money. And so at that point, there is a point at which it becomes rational to bet on the lottery. If you define rational the way that we define rational when we're talking about the small games and how we define rational in the literature, and that is a fair bet. And a fair bet is one that where the risk, the odds of winning, and the payout leads you to a point where it benefits you then to bet, right? But it's fascinating because the odds are so astronomically small that it doesn't really even matter if it's a fair bet. And so we spend all this time talking about it being rational, whether or not it's a rational bet. And that's what I spent all the post talking about is, this is actually probably a rational bet to bet on Powerball today. But that question's kind of stupid. It doesn't really, because the astronomically small odds really aren't the whole picture and whether or not it's rational. If the payout's huge, then it could be, but still, I don't know. It's just one of those things that everybody, you hear so many people saying it's a tax on stupid people or people who can't do math. No, it's not. Because if you do the math, the Powerball at this point in time is a rational bet. And we should not be laughing at people for buying tickets. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and buy a ticket, It's really an interesting question. And this post, which was not one of my best pieces, I thought, just gathered so many different arguments in comments on Facebook and even on the post itself. Some of the comments on the post itself really just frustrated me because they either missed the point or did some math wrong. Not did the math wrong, but didn't understand something. I also said something in the post about I was trying to get across how astronomically small the odds were by saying if I play, I will probably get a ticket that's where the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I was trying to say that the odds of that ticket are just they're the same as any other ticket winning. That's how astronomically small the odds are, because when has the lottery ever hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? And most people would say never would they buy a ticket like that, because it's not random. And the odds, the numbers are random. It is random. Any set is random. The numbers are chosen at random does not mean they cannot form a pattern. It means that our understanding of what random looks like it doesn't have a pattern. And so that's what I was trying to get across. And then I got all these people saying, well, don't choose that because then you'll have to share the pot. Because other people will choose that because it's a pattern. No, people don't behave that way. Nobody chooses a pattern. They don't do it because they don't think it'll win. That's not the way people behave. People do not choose all odd numbers. They choose things that are either personally significant for them or things that appear to be random. Spread out.
So statistically, if I were to bet 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42, the numbers from Lost, which in the show, the character Hurley won the lottery using those numbers. But if I were to bet those numbers,
how do you know those off the top of your head?
Statistically, I watched the show. I'm rewatching it now with my daughter, actually.
I don't remember those numbers.
They say it so many times in the show. Also, there was a whole deal that every number mentioned in the show was one of those numbers, pretty much, or a multiple, or some kind of factorial. I don't know, factor.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. But the point is that if I bet those numbers, statistically, there's no greater chance that those numbers will come up than any other combination.
No. Although there's a higher chance that other people would pick them for the same reason.
There might be. But you can't know that.
You can't.
And you know what? You want to, if you really want to pick numbers that people won't use, pick the last ones. Pick the last draw.
Yeah, and if you wanted,
numbers could come up identical to the last draw. That you could get the same draw 2 weeks in a row, randomly, and it would be just as likely as any other 6 numbers being.
And if I won on those numbers, and 10 other people picked those numbers as well,
you do have to split the pot.
I would have to split the pot, but I would still have money that I didn't have.
Yes, it's true. That's true.
Loaded.
But that does change whether or not the bet is rational. The problem is you can't predict whether or not you're going to have to share the pot. So because it affects the payout. When it affects the payout, it affects the return, the expected return, and that's what we use to determine if the bet is rational. The problem is that really it's sort of like Newton's theories of Newton's theories, period. Newton's theories in physics. They work on the everyday small scale, not necessarily on the grand scale. I mean, Einstein was closer to being correct, right?
Because of relativity.
Yeah, because of relativity. And so, on the big scale, when you get to astronomically big numbers and small odds, I don't know that this question of rationality really works.
Yeah,
but then there's all this question. I got so many arguments about but the lottery preys on the poor, and but the poor need entertainment too. And then there's the entertainment quality or the entertainment factor of it. I think the bottom line of what I was trying to say is that we shouldn't be making fun of people for playing the lottery, especially when we're talking about Powerball, jackpots that are so astronomically huge, because it is something. Our definition of rational is it is rational. The question is, can you afford to spend lots and lots of money on it? Because you shouldn't be doing that. Because your chances are so small of winning that even though it's a rational bet, rational really isn't the right question to be asking. The right question to be asking is it practical for you to spend that? And if you want to spend $2 on a ticket, do it. I got no problem with that. But if you're going to spend $50 on a ticket, and then tomorrow when you don't win, you're going to go on GoFundMe and ask for help to pay your bills, I'm going to have a problem with that.
Interesting. Yes. See, for me, I mean, I've got a little bit of disposable income, and if I wanted to spend, if I wanted to go and buy a lottery ticket, just because I thought it would be fun to try to win the lotto, that's not really a big deal. So what? I'm doing it as my enjoyment. I may get $2 of enjoyment out of buying a ticket and watching and hoping to win. But the other question, and it's actually more of a social question of whether or not, I mean, because I went to, there's now 2 casinos in the Baltimore area. There's the live casino off in the suburbs, and then there's the one that's new, that's downtown, Horseshoe or something like that. And I went there a couple weeks back because there's a restaurant there I wanted to go to. It was 2 of the chefs from one of the TV shows, that Mexican place. It was excellent. Johnny Sanchez is the name of the restaurant. But we hung around because it was like I never go to casinos because I'm like, I'm not interested. I don't find fun going to a casino. But when hanging around, and the one thing I noticed about the clientele is that there are a lot of people there that probably shouldn't be spending money on gambling.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's often the case.
So, I mean, there is a social issue of whether or not it's a problem for us, especially when that casino there in Baltimore was partially subsidized by the Baltimore City government. Is this a good thing for us to do as a society, to build these places and to encourage people spending money when they can't afford? That's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
Now, the pure issue of whether or not betting is rational, I mean, it's a fuzzy thing because it's rational for me to spend money on my entertainment because I have money to do that. Yep.
By the way, statisticians love to gamble. I've been known to hit the craps tables once in a while. I mean, I don't think I ever, maybe once or twice during all the years that I went to TAM, did I ever visit a table during TAM. So I could be in Vegas for days and not gamble. But I like to, I like to hit slots once in a while, or I like video poker. I like anything that has a little edge of skill. I like, and I like craps because the odds are low, and so it's a slow drain if you know how to bet.
Yeah.
But
I like playing cards, but I suck at it.
But I won't go for the sucker bets. I will not go for the sucker. I won't play roulette. Although I've been known to, I won't do it now. And I won't make the yo bets on the craps table, things like that, because it's stupid. I think it's just dumb. But that doesn't mean that I don't have fun when there's an opportunity or there's a small chance that I might walk away with more than what I came. And I have done that. But the question is, do you fully understand and fully internalize the fact that what you're doing is a losing game?
Yep.
And with the lottery, it's definitely it's a losing game for the, not just the vast majority. I mean, for almost everybody who plays it is a losing game.
Yep. And it's tied into personal finance, which is in this country, it's our individual responsibility. No one can tell you how to spend your money. That's
agree.
Part of America.
The gambling establishments, I wouldn't ever support them. I would never. I mean, I never support the idea of building more of them.
No.
Because I do think that it's probably it.
I would not go to a table because I would feel bad about this person sitting across the table from me and then just taking my money away from me.
Also, you don't know how they work.
That feels like mugging.
Blackjack is fun.
Yeah, well.
How about when they give you money, though?
Huh? No, they wouldn't, because I wouldn't go to the fucking table. I will never know that sweet fruit.
But speaking of casinos and entertainment, Bob, we missed Bacon Week. It just occurred to me.
Bacon Week?
Yeah, there's a week of bacon.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. We went to Atlantic City in December, and there was a sign, Bacon Week. It's like, oh my God, we have to come back for Bacon Week. But I think we missed it.
We forgot Bacon Week.
We forgot Bacon Week.
Man, you should have told me. I would have totally been there.
Yeah. Damn.
Bacon Week. Well, a couple of one funny thing on Twitter. Kathleen Smith, which everyone here should know, commented that Marty McFly and Doc Brown want to meet me based on my previous comment about wanting to be struck by lightning at the clock tower, and I thought that was funny. And also she pointed out that it is proper form for the winner of the Powerball to write thank you notes to all who contributed.
Nice.
Well, that's one
So that was
drawback.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd
Yeah.
be fun too. If that was the case, I certainly wouldn't want to win.
Just
How much
put a
would it
note up
cost
on
for
your
all that
blog.
stationery?
Yeah.
Probably more than
it would
the.
probably negate the
Yeah.
whole. Yeah. Okay then. Thanks, Barb, for both those stories. Those were fun, entertaining, and interesting. Up next, Bob
Hi.
is. Bob says,
I don't
"What is
even
the
know
goat
this
thing?"
week. This one is just baffling. All right,
Please tell me it's not a goat.
So what we're going to do now, this is going to be a choose your own adventure segment.
Oh boy.
Yay! So no. So you've been diagnosed with HIV. You've taken antiretroviral therapy as directed. The drugs are working. You've been living with a low, almost undetectable viral load for
Am I going
the
to do something stupid?
last 3.5 years. What do you do? A,
Something stupid.
Eve, shut up. A, continue taking the drug cocktail that's been keeping you reliably healthy, or B, stop taking your meds, go to a scam artist lunatic in Mexico, and then go on Dr. Oz's show.
Or C.
No, just those two.
Buy the lottery. Oh,
Turn
sorry.
into a zombie and run rampant in the New York City streets.
No,
No?
that's not one.
Well, it seems to me that most people who, want to stay alive would do A. But I'm sure that somebody did B.
So you picked A. You are not Charlie Sheen. You live a long normal life, and you die just as you spend your last nickel. Hooray, you win at life.
But I don't have tiger blood or Adonis DNA.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. So, yeah. Frickin' Charlie Sheen, man.
Frickin' Charlie Sheen.
Oh man. So
I think
the world
that's his official
was
title now. Frickin' Charlie Sheen.
The world was stunned. Stunned, I say. When a promo clip for Dr. Oz's show showed Oz suggesting that Charlie Sheen stay on his meds, like, a degenerate Western allopathic doctor might do. So 4 years ago, Charlie Sheen was diagnosed with HIV, and he revealed it 2 months ago on the Today Show. And then getting the timeline has been kind of hard to figure out what's happened in the interim. On the Oz show when he was on, he said that a month ago he went off his meds, and then he went to this guy named Sam Chichawa, who plays a doctor in Mexico. He's known, and has been known for at least since 1999, for what he calls induced remission therapy, which back in the day claimed a 99% cure rate for cancer and AIDS, and he still sells it apparently. On Quackwatch, and it's an old article, Sam Chichoa is quoted as saying, "Cancer is a manifestation of body's protective response to infectious organisms. Also claims and Chichoa, quote, also claims to have developed vaccines and other technologies with the, quote within a quote, preliminary test efficacy greater than 99% against cancer and AIDS." They mentioned
AIDS.
Yes. Who do I know who's made claims about cancer and AIDS? I don't know. God, for some reason, I smell Polish sausage. I don't know why. So, his vaccines include tagging agents capable of attaching themselves. This is one website describing IRT. His vaccines include tagging agents capable of attaching themselves to the cancer cells and making them immunologically tempting targets, as well as a battery of specific non-toxic therapy. Who do I know who makes claims about non-specific, never mind, non-toxic therapies? Anyway, cancers are allowed to then activate differentiation cycles or fulfill a programmed cell death. God, I know someone else who talks about apoptosis. Who the oh well.
Is it quantum?
No, it's not.
Ah.
Ultimately, quote, this allows for the removal of diseased tissue and return to normal structure without trauma or toxicity. I have like no idea what this means because some of these they just seem kind of like in one case they're basically doing what you'd call immunotherapy, I guess, using the immune system to target cancer cells. And it's kind of funny because one of the ways that you can I've just been reading Parasite Rex, and one of the ways that like nasty little single cellular parasites evade the immune system is like changing the outer structure of its outer cell structure, either by scraping a jacket from the immune system, or by shedding its coat over and over and over, so it's a moving target. So that's actually not related to anything, but fun. But then the other side, it says it's a genetic therapy too, so it changes the genetics here. Like, well, okay, like pick one, right? So that's induced remission therapy. Then he has this other thing called, it's an anti-HIV medicine called Universal Elixir Supplement.
And it's going to be good if it's called an elixir.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. Jesus, Charlie. So, from his website, quote, the elixir being provided is a pasteurized milk product containing many of the living bacteria found in cheese and in yogurt. Can you guess what's wrong with that?
Living and pasteurized and...
Yes. So, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also milk?
Hold on. It includes a type of penicillin found in blue vein cheese, or what was it? Blue vein...
mold.
Basically. Okay? Stinky cheese. It has been tested, this is the damnedest thing, quote, it's been tested by nature in millions of Mexicans who carry immunity to it and HIV based on drinking the goat virus contained in goat milk. It causes arthritis in goats.
The goat virus.
Contained in goat milk.
It causes arthritis in goats, but nothing in thousands of people, followed up by the University of Southern California and Dr. Chichoa. Those who were followed up for years never contracted HIV. Well, I'm guessing, if you could follow them for years and years and years, the chances are that they'd contracted HIV are probably pretty low. But whatever.
How many of them turned into goats if it's a goat virus?
Oh my God! I don't even know what this is. Like this goat virus he's talking about is supposed to be an antagonist against HIV somehow. It's just so weird, and they never actually say on the show which therapeutic route Charlie Sheen went down. There are, but God, what he says is just so weird. So he went off his meds, and he says that he's had some really remarkable, some encouraging results early on. Where have I heard? I've heard that some other person saying that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's really kind of the parasitic hook that kind of grabs the. I was going to make a colon reference, but that's a hook that grabs people and keeps them on bullshit therapies when they get encouraging news really early on. And then when asked to prove that this was happening, he said that he went down with two friends. These two friends took out their blood, right? And then he took out his blood and mixed it. He put it in the test tubes with his friend's blood. Then it was cultured for 3 or 4 days. That's his word. And they all came back with no detectable virus.
Because it's all clotted and dead now.
Who knows, right? Like he's not qualified to judge that. And honestly, I don't trust this Chochoa guy as far as I could throw him. But I'd like to try to throw him off of something very high, because he's going after desperate people. But his response was, like, looking at these test tubes, like, if you saw that, wouldn't you think there might be something there? And the correct answer is, why would I? Right? This person seems to be a bit of a showman. He talks about patents that were stolen. I think I heard about that before. That just seems so familiar to me. And that there's a conspiracy to keep him from giving his life-saving... It's probably just a coincidence. Yeah.
This is interesting. So it's like he ripped off his shtick, too.
It feels like it. Like,
Well,
it
it's
really...
common
They
shit.
actually...
It's
yeah.
very common, yeah.
There's a reason it's called patent medicine, you know, like... But the other thing is the two of them kind of both look alike. There's some pictures where I was like, wow, that looks like Stan's, like, ugly, or, no, almost his ugly brother. Then this guy, this Chichoa guy, went to a bump on Sheen's arm that had been drained. He took a syringe, says Sheen, drew fluid out, and injected it into himself, saying, if I'm wrong, we're both in trouble. And my guess is someone switched the needle.
Well, it clearly can't be faked.
But he was like, wow, I saw that. And he says it was mind-blowing, and that was helping him develop faith in it because of the weirdness. I mean,
there's a reason why regular doctors don't have to do such sensational drama in order to convince us their treatment's going to work.
It was just absolutely bonkers. And, okay, yeah, Charlie Sheen has had issues. It's kind of hard to watch him on the show because he's kind of twitchy and, you know, he's fucked himself up, you know? And then and Oz actually was pointing out, you know, like, I've never heard of this guy. If he had this cure, we would know about him. No, you know, we go online, we can't find anything on him. Like, doing something that's remotely skeptical for once. Although he's still profiting.
After what he's been through.
Well, he's still profiting off of this guy's story. I mean, he's still exploiting Charlie Sheen. But they brought the doctor, Sheen's doctor, in, Robert Iguenza, and asked, you know...
real doctor?
Real doctor who'd been following Sheen since it was detected. And he made a passionate plea to Charlie about not giving away great therapy that was working on him, you know, and that could keep him alive and give him a regular lifespan. You know, until he gets a liver transplant, I guess.
Yeah.
Snap. And so the quack said that Charlie was now HIV negative, which of course isn't true because right before the show, Charlie came out and said, "Yeah, I'm kind of off my game right now. My numbers are up again." Well, no shit. You went off your meds and you got goat milk virus or something.
I want to know, is this the thing that causes some goats to faint when they're startled? Because that would be awesome.
That would be hilarious.
Charlie, and he just went and keeled over?
No, I think that's that's
genetic.
It's genetic.
Yeah.
Which, you know, Charlie could still have that, just not the same way.
That's true.
Yeah. So, and then the most bizarre, just when you like this treatment seems so weird and so not on the up and up. Then there was a letter to Dr. Oz from Sam Chichoa on his website. This is called The Truth. I'm only going to read one part because I think it will fuck up your mind forever. Dr. Oz, this is for you and all your medical team and supporters from Cedars, the Sinai Cedars or Cedar Sinai, I don't know. USC and UCLA. Dr. Chichoa wants you and one healthy doctor from each of these universities to do a show with him where each of you takes the morning after cocktail, the prophylactic dose of the antiretrovirals in case you're exposed. This is a combination of conventional AIDS medications prescribed by doctors to patients who believe they've been exposed to infection. Dr. Chichoa will take his own medicine. Then Oz will be injected with HIV, and Dr. Chichoa will be injected with 10 times the dose. 10 times the dose of HIV.
That's like the definition of the classic definition of a witch doctor.
Oh God, yeah. You've told Charlie that it is a fake magic trick. So on your show, we will be sure there is no magic. Dr. Chichoa will inject you, and you will inject him. You see, that is a good television show, the real way for Oz to show what he believes in, and for Dr. Chichoa to show the same. It isn't really science, but it is not what. But that is not what television is about anyway.
Well, I got that right.
Yeah, but I'm thinking Dr. Oz is probably not going to inject himself with HIV anytime soon.
And he didn't give him any motivation for doing that either. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean this was
You don't believe me? I'll inject you.
It's just that it is the idea that if you make for a certain type of personality, making a huge the wacky asser the claim is, the more credible it becomes to someone.
Yeah.
And that's who this guy's market is. It's really the parallels between this guy. I would like to go a week without mentioning, the savior of Poland, if I could. But the similarities are just glaring. The stories that they're telling are the same damn stories. I mean, you could diagnose someone with quackery based on these symptoms.
Yes.
I think that Charlie is. He apparently went back on his meds. He said he would. But he puts himself at risk for evolving a resistant strain by going off his meds. He'd gone from a viral load of 4.4 million to nothing, and then kicked it back up for no good reason. It was a colossal disaster for him. So yeah, that was the weirdest thing that I've read all week.
Did you hear that Lumosity has to stop making their claims?
Yeah.
True. Good.
Wasn't that awesome?
That's pretty
Bastards.
awesome.
Hear that one? Huh? What was it, Brian?
What?
What did you say?
I was saying yes. I did see that.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
That was good news. Talk about abuse of neuroscience and
Yeah.
neuroplasticity.
It just used to make me want to just slam my head down on the table every time I watched one of those commercials. It just made me want to scream. It was almost as bad as, the Lucy and the 10% of your brain stuff. Just grind my teeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
My understanding is that the claims that they were shot down were related to deterioration due to age.
Yeah.
Specifically, and
There were
and
a couple of them actually. There was
Might
also
stave off Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. Yeah.
well, it wasn't clear that they were supposed to stop making all their claims, which I wasn't sure about.
Oh, they should.
No, the vague claims are you can't. It's hard to say you can't do that. Like you can, if you play Lumosity games, you will get better at Lumosity games.
Yeah.
So how do you then say that it's not a workout for your brain?
But
Yeah.
Like my favorite bit of the whole Lumosity thing is that there's an actress who was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer as Buffy's college roommate, and she shows up in some of these, or in one of the TV commercials, and she talks about how now she's happier with her brain.
I'm happy with my brain.
But she's a demon.
Yeah, she is a demon.
My understanding is they paid a huge fine to
No, it wasn't that big. I mean, it's to chump change to them.
well, chump change to them, and the only thing, yeah, they had to change they can't make some of the claims they're making, and as far as current subscribers, they just have to let them out of their contracts.
Still, I still think it's a big win.
Which,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Even just so that the news gets out that these were lies, you know.
That's true. That's true. It seemed like it could have been, I don't know. If I was a subscriber and I subscribed for that reason and realized that it was complete garbage, and they had to tell me that, I would want my money back.
Well, they did have a product, you know, that they were able to play games for a while. But what bothers me is that by the time these things happen, you know, like the whole thing with the power balance bracelets in Australia and all of that, by the time these things happen, these people have already made their money. You know,
Made their money.
That's what bothers me.
Yep.
But at least it happened.
Okay, moving right along.
There's Blake had a comment.
Go.
Sounds like Charlie's going to a psychic surgeon. Is this
Yeah.
a new low for Oz, or am I just ignorant of the lows? Well, Oz did have Brzezinski on his show once, but in this case, Oz actually, and maybe it's just by contrast, looks good, which may be why he had Brzezinski on his show. You know, like he can get it right if he tries.
Sure.
So, and he did. I mean, should we be parading this nutcase and his issues? I mean, on national television, that's a legitimate question. I mean, the exploitation is clearly there. No, Dr. Oz has done some pretty low stuff. I refer you to his rebuttal of Dr. Novella. That was like the worst rambling, incoherent whine ever. That's pretty low.
Yep. On a related note, if you're watching the show Adam Ruins Everything, which I mentioned before, it's a pretty darn good skeptical and very entertaining show. They annotate a lot of their claims. I don't know if they do full research on making sure everything is correct, but they did do a show on health claims.
It was vitamins, wasn't it?
Yeah, vitamins but the whole show is set up as like a parody of Dr. Oz. It is almost directly slapping him on the back of the head. It's great. So go check it out. It's worth a watch. And unfortunately, I don't think it's getting a large enough viewership. It may not last. I mean, it is on one of those obscure internet TV networks. So
isn't it like on College Humor?
It actually started as a YouTube channel. College Humor, I think they did some on that, but then it's like is it ITV or one of the internet TV networks that shows it. And I get it because if you have cable, you get it for free. You can watch it online. So it's very well done though. So
and one last thing to Blake.
The
guy wasn't actually featured as like a guest. The Chichoa guy wasn't featured as a guest. There was a bit where they showed a conversation between Oz and the guy on his phone, and Chichoa didn't come across looking very good. But even giving the guy the time of day, I think, could cause problems. So.
Yeah. Okay, moving right along. We're just really pressed for time, and Eve's got some stuff to talk about.
Yes.
But she's going to be bully. That's what she says here. She's going to bully us, which I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
I'm not as brave as you guys are.
In the past week, there's been a bit of a skeptical fuss about a PhD that was recently granted by Australia's University of Wollongong, which I'm probably not pronouncing correctly, so from now on, I'm going to call it Ting Tang Walla Walla Bing Bang.
Okay. That works.
Anyway.
I know someone from there. Never mind.
Ting Tang Walla Walla Bing Bang?
Yeah, isn't that where Amanda's from?
No, that's Canberra, the capital.
Oh. Okay.
Australia, yes.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
Judy Wileman received her PhD from the School of Humanities and Social Inquiry after completing her 390-page thesis, A Critical Analysis of the Australian Government's Rationale for its Vaccine Policy. According to ORAC of Respectful Insolence, it is a collection of anti-vaccine talking points and conspiracy theories bolstered with dubious assertions about germ theory.
Oh boy.
And from what I've seen of it, it's also.
Hold on, Eve. I gotta go get the hand lotion. Oh, this is gonna be good.
I can't imagine slogging through 390 pages of passive voice and no subordinate clauses. But anyway. But that's some sentences perhaps taken out of context. At any rate, I probably really shouldn't trust what ORAC says, because he might be considered something of a medical expert, which is just automatically questionable. He's clearly a shill for big pharma and big backs, is probably in on it, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And also, I expect he's a mobbing academic freedom suppressing bully, and those are among his more attractive characteristics. Now, to be fair, I don't know if anyone's actually accused him of any of these things in regards to this issue, but I imagine it's a matter of time, and I'll get to why that is shortly. Because the thing is, although this thesis is appalling, there's something much worse going on at the University of Wollongong.
Wollongong.
Yes. This morning, when I went to start looking into this issue in more detail than I'd previously had, of course I couldn't find any of the links I saw yesterday on Facebook or Twitter, so I consulted my friend Google. But apparently I used the wrong words, because Google didn't immediately turn up this particular story. Rather, it offered me, among other delights, papers called On the Suppression of Vaccination Dissent and Healthy Dissent, Resisting Attacks on Alternative Medicine by Dr. Brian Martin. Eventually, though, I did find Wileman's thesis, and guess who her thesis supervisor is?
The same guy.
Did you guess that it might have been Dr. Brian Martin? Well, it was.
Wait, her original research is to basically restate what he said?
No.
Oh.
What department is this, by the way? What is her PhD in?
Anti-vaccination.
The department is... Oh. Crap. I think... it's the School of Humanities and Social Inquiry. She was not allowed to do it in, like, health and behavioral sciences, because according to Wright, politics or something.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not sure. And there was also, at one point, she transferred to another university because she moved across the continent, but that didn't work out. So she went back to Wollongong. But so actually, I'm not really going to talk that much about Wileman and her arguments in particular. I suggest you read Respectful Insolence and Luke Weston's Twitter feed. He has comments on it and excerpts from it. Instead, I want to talk about Martin. And it's easy to find out about him because he conveniently categorizes and lists all his publications and seems to have the text of many, if not all of them, on his webpage. There's a whole bunch on vaccination, although he says he doesn't feel strongly one way or the other on vaccination, but we'll get to that. Also, water fluoridation, nuclear energy, I think he's against it. Experts, I think he's against them. And several papers, he's a physicist, by the way, for his PhDs in physics. And several papers about the theory that tainted polio vaccine led to the rise of HIV.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not exactly that he's actually pushing the idea that the polio vaccine caused AIDS, but rather that he's big into dissent and what he sees as the suppression of dissent and academic freedom. So he thinks that the theory that the polio vaccine caused AIDS has been unfairly suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's crap or something.
Yeah. I'm so disappointed in humanity right now.
Well, you should be.
More so than normal?
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah, it's not surprising, therefore, that he's already written about the Wileman PhD controversy twice, once before the degree was conferred and again a couple of days ago. In Judy Wileman, PhD, How to Understand Attacks on a Research Student, he begins by saying Wileman and her research have been under attack for several years, because she began in 2007, in a sustained assault on academic freedom. Ooh. And who are the vicious bastards who are attacking academic freedom? Well, it's the Stop the Australian (anti-vaccination) network, who, as we all know, are terrible people, some of whom we've met personally, and just terrible people. According to Martin, this citizens group was set up in 2009 with the express purpose of discrediting and destroying the Australian Vaccination Network, a citizens group supporting free choice by parents about their children's vaccination and critical of standard government vaccination policies. Methods used by SAVN have included abusive comments, complaints to official bodies, and attempts to block public talks by AVN figures. The SAVNers seek to censor any public comment critical of vaccination, setting themselves as arbiters for what is permissible to say. SAVN's campaign against the AVN has been documented in a number of articles, all of which were written by Martin.
Of course.
He links to them. He says the SAVN has made personal attacks against Wileman, not just her research. This is a clear and direct attack on academic freedom. I have studied issues of intellectual freedom for many years. Never have I heard of a campaign against a research student more relentless and abusive than the one against Judy. So I went to the Facebook page of these academic freedom-hating monsters to see what they're saying about Wileman. Now, prepare to be shocked. SAVN believes anti-vaccine lies, whether they occur on a Facebook page or in a PhD thesis, need to be called out. Ms. Wileman's unsurprising attempts to varnish over her demonstrably false claims with a thin veneer of academic credibility are disappointing. But more concerning, the management of this student and her topic are a shameful embarrassment to the University of Wollongong. Perhaps most shocking of all is the failure of UAW to provide the student with appropriate supervision. Her thesis is full of statements that lack any evidence, and many are easily identified as completely false. The topic of her thesis demands involvement by relevant content area experts, such as those responsible for the implementation or assessment of Australia's immunization policies and programs. It is unfortunate that none on Wileman's supervisory panel had such expertise. And given the content of her thesis, it is clear the examination panel was similarly lacking. SAVN welcomes the opportunity to debate the quality and presentation of Wileman's data and the strengths of her arguments in the public eye. What a vicious string of ad hominem. Oh, wait. In mobbing of a PhD student, Lessons and Responsibilities, Martin discusses poor Meryl Dorey, also Wileman, but also Meryl Dorey and the anti-vax group formerly known as the Australian Vaccination Network. He makes Dorey sound almost heroic. In Australia, government health departments all support vaccination, and so do most doctors and scientists. Fuckers. However, there are some citizen groups that publicly question vaccination and that support informed parental choice. The largest and most visible vaccine critical group was the Australian Vaccination Network, set up in the mid-90s by Meryl Dorey.
Until the money disappeared.
until they were viciously assaulted. Well, anyway, the AVN produced a magazine, ran a large website, and had some 2,000 members. Dory became the most prominent vaccination critic in the country. And all was well until, in 2009, another group was set up, Stop the Australian Vaccination Network, which set out to shut down the AVN using a variety of measures, including abusive comment about Dory and other vaccine critics on their Facebook page, complaints to venues where Dory was scheduled to speak, intended to block her talks, and a concerted effort to discredit the AVN in online forums such as Wikipedia and the Web of Trust. I wish Tim were here. Other methods used against the AVN in which SAVNers may or may not have been involved were posting online the names of and contact details of advertisers in the AVN's magazine, thereby inviting harassment, sending pornography to Dory and others, and sending threatening messages.
Why did you do that?
SAVNers attacked 1, vaccine critical views, 2, vaccine critics as individuals, 3, people associated with vaccine critics, and 4, organizations providing vaccine critics with a platform. Now, if I recall correctly, Dory viciously attacked the parents of an infant who died from pertussis. And apparently so did Wileyman. So I feel there may be some irony here somewhere. But according to Martin, the SAVN did even worse. SAVNers also made dozens of complaints to government agencies. Some of the agencies, for example, the Healthcare Complaints Commission and the Department of Fair Trading, then initiated investigations into the AVN, serving as a form of harassment and disparagement. Now, I don't exactly understand how investigating violations of the Healthcare Complaints Act, for instance, is harassment if, in fact, an organization is actually violating the act, misleading readers, and giving invalid healthcare advice. Martin, just by the way, also believes that Andrew Wakefield was a victim of suppression of dissent.
This guy has no business overseeing anybody's research. Oh my God. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, what a cravenly dishonest and horrid person he is.
Yeah. Apparently, Hart's criticism of dangerous, factually inaccurate, dishonest nonsense is suppression, bullying, or mobbing.
Oh,
and experts are biased. And of course, experts can be biased, but they aren't, biased by definition.
I know.
Again, Wileyman's thesis may be awful, and it sounds like it really truly is. But it's more worrying that this guy is part of the faculty. He claims to be defending academic freedom and dissenters.
He would know academic freedom if it bit him on the ass.
Well, it's like expelled. I mean, saying that if you point out that young Earth creationism is wrong and not science, that's suppressing academic freedom.
Well, but that's a strategy that they had to go to because they didn't have because all the other roads were blocked.
Yeah.
After what you call it? I'm blocking.
I should be able to teach people anything I damn well feel like.
Well, and this seems to be his big thing. Any sort of dissent, he's going to defend it against the truth.
Well, I personally think that, goat virus combats HIV. Are you going to suppress me?
Yeah, I will. But he'll defend you.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Some people believe anything.
I believe that goat virus causes people to change into goats.
Yeah. But anyway, theses riddled with errors don't deserve a pass because they represent dissent, or because they're nearly 400 pages long. Dishonest, dangerous nonsense is not the same thing as academic freedom.
I wonder if I can get Goat Boy.
Well, that academic freedom argument, it really does. I was thinking of Dover, the Dover versus Kitzmiller thing. That academic freedom argument is usually what's brought out when there's nothing else to support it. you know.
Well,
Yeah.
even in the case of Dover,
You're attacking me. It's you're attacking me rather than attacking the argument itself, and so that's why you see it so much in these circles.
yeah, and
Yeah.
even the academic freedom critique that showed up in Dover, it doesn't matter so much because that's not where cutting edge science is done. That's not where the consensus is manufactured. No,
but that's something that after Dover versus Kitzmiller, that after that ruling, all the avenues in trying to get it into the schools were blocked, and so the strategy changes to something of trying to convince the public that what's being threatened here is academic freedom.
Right.
So
Yeah.
because they're still trying to get it into the schools,
Right.
and that's how to get it into the schools.
This guy seems to really specialize in this. That he writes on education a lot. He writes on snobbery in education, which okay, there's some there, but he's sort of taken defending the little guy to places it shouldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the little guy should be crushed like a bug.
Sometimes the little guy is full of crap.
Depends on which little guy you're talking about.
Mm.
Sorry with that one.
Yeah.
So not Dory from Finding Nemo.
No.
Oh man,
Okay.
that woman. Oh.
Much less.
See, they could take advantage of that and do their own movie called Finding Dory, and it would.
God, no, just leave her lost.
Yeah. As long as they don't send her back to us.
Maybe
Or if they do, they get Ken Ham back.
Okay, so we're 12 minutes over in the show, and because we're running so late, I'm gonna do stuff anyway.
Yay!
Yay! So there's the.
When has that ever stopped us?
Well, it sometimes stops me because I don't know. I got two little things to run through really quick. First up, there's this thing. This is someone cooking with a robot. This thing's called Kooki. Cooki, and it's done by a company called Serenity. And supposedly, this is a robot cooking thing. So
That's awesome.
So this is how it works.
It's stirring
First-
nothing.
Yeah. First off, let's see. Then wait for it. Wait for it. It's gonna dump stuff in there. Here it goes. Dump. Okay. So this is how it works. First off, you go to the store and you buy all your ingredients. You take them home, and you prep them. You cut them into pieces, and then in each of the ingredients that you've already prepared and done everything to, you put them in little bins inside this container. And then you fire up your phone and push some buttons, and eventually this machine just dumps stuff into a pan and stirs it for a while.
I'm
It
sorry.
pours and stirs.
It essentially dumps ingredients that you've already prepped into a pan and then stirs them for a little while.
And
That
And there you go. That's supposed to be modern high-tech cooking.
okay.
Apparently it can make an omelet.
Can it do it without breaking eggs?
Yes, because it can't break the eggs.
yeah.
Oh God, it's
Used
so
to break the
lame.
eggs.
So it'll do the easiest step of the cooking. It will.
Is there audio for this? Because what are they
Stir
saying?
things
Like, yes, it's still stirring.
It doesn't
Well,
do
I
it
mean,
well either.
There's a whole market for kitchen things that don't really do anything, which would make sense. If this thing was like $20, then it would be, or maybe $50, maybe even $150, like a high-end gift like kitchen thing you'd buy someone you hate for Christmas, right? Depending on how much you want them to be impressed. But this thing is $500. That's a retail price. It's a $500 Mr. Coffee
And you
that
still have to clean it.
makes omelets, but you have to do all the work except for the easiest step.
I could
And then you've
And
got to clean
it's
it.
robot, so it may poison you.
get like a kitchen boy to do that
That's true.
for,
I
and
really
and
don't
that would
find
still be useless.
Yeah, I don't find this motion that hard. It's I
Yeah.
mean
Yeah.
it's kind of I mean maybe it does it with flourish.
Oh,
I don't
weird.
really know. So
This is
there you
the-
go. So anybody
Oh.
out there who wants a $400 stirring machine,
Does it know
actually it's close to
fear?
500. What?
Does it know fear or existential angst or something cool? Or no, just fucking stirs.
Maybe it stirs and hates it.
And its nameplate filthy.
Sense.
What you're getting for your money is robotic hatred.
And its name is Serenity, spelled bad.
That's
Ooh.
I guess that's the name of the company that makes it. Its name is actually worse. It's named Kooky.
Oh dear. And Serenity,
Okay.
it really looks like it needs a clean.
Yes, it does.
Will burn.
It looks like it will burn your meal because the logo is clearly burned. Yes. So there you go. That's what modern robotic technology will buy you in the home today.
Ooh, designed for
Yay!
dreaming.
So this one is much cooler. This is another like PhD research program at the University of Illinois.
Yay.
And it is a robotic ornithopter. So it's another one of these small robotic flying machines, but this one uses wings, and this is showing off. It's got a membrane bat-like wings. Now they haven't actually got it to fly yet, but it's really cool looking.
A paperweight.
It's very cool looking.
Yeah, it's about I think 92 grams. It's pretty. Yeah, there it is. It is. It's pretty darn lightweight, and if they can figure out the wing motion, which they're working on now, doing the software for it, it's going to be super cool. And maybe bump it above the Robo Bees in my mind because it would probably fly more like a bat and be able to carry stuff too. So there you go.
And
Like
spot-
rabies.
Like rabies.
Robo rabies. It would be a bat virus.
So what's on the front there? Is that just a chip, or is that a sensor array, or what is that?
I'm not sure. That they do have a sensor package that's supposed to mount on the front of this. What we're looking at right now looks to me just like a microchip, although it could be some kind of light sensor. It's not clear. It looks like just a chip to me.
And those aren't cameras.
Yeah,
or...
hey, look, it's pointing out it's a computer.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean it's got some. It's actually got a pretty decent horsepower chip on it. I had the specs in front of me. I don't have them right now, but I mean this is the kind of thing. The cost is going down.
Does it know fear? No.
Not yet, but they're teaching it through torture.
Can it echolocate?
The cost of these components are going down so much nowadays that I mean I could probably afford to build one of these things. So.
Cool.
I mean, I got.
But you spend it all on lottery tickets.
Well, if I won the lottery, I could have an army of these things.
Nice.
Don't play.
They could all just sit there.
Yes, and they will fly north towards New Jersey. Yes. So yeah, it's actually pointing out all the sensors on it. It's got well, I know what Hall effect sensors are, but it's got they haven't done the software for it. They've done essentially the sensor package and found a way to manufacture these gummy wings, which should be really cool once they get it working. I'm sure I will have cool videos updating this like I had for the RoboBees. The RoboBees project at which is MIT, hasn't posted any updates on their program. Hey, look, there's actually wings.
Cool.
Yep. That is.
Yeah, that's. I think that's simplified motion because it needs to articulate a little more in order to. Yeah. There is a paper published on this, and it's a analysis of what could possibly work as a flight motion for the wings, but it's not hasn't been implemented yet. So.
Cool.
We'll see when robo bats are coming. Look at that. There's a dive. Did you see
And right
that?
now it's a robo
Yeah.
flying squirrel.
Here we go. Here we go. Here's an attempt. Throw it, man. Throw it. Throw it.
Do it!
What's taking so long, man? Oh, there you go. He's got to make the wings go.
It's taking so long
Yeah,
as
that
it's in
does help.
slow motion.
Yeah.
Go, 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 go.
Why?
He's going to let it go here in a minute.
And by let it go, you mean throw.
Squish.
Yeah.
So that's the best as they've got right now.
Oh.
So I will be updating you once these things are available and mounted with guns.
Cool.
Cool.
So, but by all means, do not buy the cookie.
Oh, look at that. They had a bunch of undergrads working on it too. That's cool.
Yep, yep. It's a PhD program, so
Very cool.
it's the kind of thing that's an ongoing thing. It gives kind of an incubator for PhD students to come up with ways to do something new and write a paper on it, and then defend it as a thesis. So
Neat.
a lot of these neat experimental things I talk about on the show are those kinds of things. So okay, that's all I got. We got lots and lots of time over. I'm sorry. Let's do the wrap up.
Okay.
Trivia question. Did anybody even do the trivia question thing?
I did not see any correct answers. There was an incorrect one on Q&A, but I'm not like Tim with keeping up with all that. The correct answer is polio, which was eradicated in India by vaccines.
Sweet.
Oh, someone also on Facebook suggested that it was Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa was...
No, she was gone by
She was
then.
finally eradicated. She'd been eradicated long before.
Yeah.
It took longer to eradicate her than...
Oh my god.
But I wanted to say, last week when we were reading out the people who got the correct trivia question or trivia answer, which I don't even remember what it was now, we apparently left someone out. So last week we left out Travis, Estrella. So he officially wins the trivia this week.
Yes. Yay! If he didn't have to
Without
try.
having participated.
Yay. Okay. Good for him. In case you tried to guess where the monitors are behind me, I'm not even going to tell you. We got to do book time. Do we have any announcements? We have an announcement. Bob?
Do we?
It's
Is there an announcement?
Barb related.
Fine.
Barb's
Barbara.
Announcement about me?
Barbara has a new post. She mentioned this earlier, playing the lottery. Insight in the Insight blog at skeptic.com.
I also was on You Are Not So Smart recently.
Oh,
Yes, you were.
It's a really
You were so smart.
The reason I mention it, because I don't usually mention those. And since I've been on the show, actually, I think I've done a lot. I did an Art and Atheist a couple weeks ago as well.
They're cool. They're fun.
The You Are Not So Smart was a really interesting one about the bullshit article, the article about bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That
Super profound bullshit.
Because it's a really good. He interviewed the authors of the article, and I think it taps into some interesting stuff. So.
Cool. Very, very cool. So go check that out as well. Book time. Who's got a book?
I do.
Go for it.
Okay. People disappear all the time. Ask any policeman. Better yet, ask a journalist. Disappearances are bread and butter to journalists. Young girls run away from home. Young children stray from their parents and are never seen again. Housewives reach the end of their tether and take the grocery money in a taxi to the station. International financiers change their names and vanish into the smoke of imported cigars. Many of the lost will be found, eventually dead or alive. Disappearances, after all, have explanations. Usually.
Eve?
For the first time at Sutton Hoo, Longworth's excavations produced the phenomenon of organic crusting of human tissue, a phenomenon that was familiar to archaeologists who had worked on the ship. from the curious way in which the sand had replaced the organic structure of the wood, so that the square-cut frames, for example, survived as square-shaped casts with a crusted surface. Essentially, the process, which is currently being studied, seems to be that as organic matter decays, it is replaced by sand, so the original surface contours survive as a distinct and fairly hard sandy carapace that allows the skilled excavator of, for example, an inhumation to follow the outlines of the original fully fleshed body.
Bob?
Fueled by both frustration and outrage, Myers, Morton, and Goldman helped establish a subtly radical group called the Open Source Seed Initiative in 2012. Operating under the radar, its mission was to reestablish free exchange by creating a reservoir of seed that couldn't be patented, a national park of germplasm, Goldman called it. By 2013, the group had 24 members, several of them distinguished plant breeders from public universities across the country.
Okay. But they were donuts of darkness, evil damned donuts, tainted by the spawn of darkness, which could obviously be redeemed only by passing through the fiery cleansing inferno of a wizardly digestive tract. Barbara, what's your book?
My book is Outlander, which
Outlander.
recently recommended to me because I love time travel stuff by Deanna Gabaldon. But I haven't read it yet. That was the opening.
Yeah, it's one on my list to read as well.
You are breaking up, I think, Brian.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's an emotional thing. Eve, what's your book?
My book is The Sutton Hoo Ship Burial by Angela Kerr Evans. And just quickly, that is a sand body. That is all sand. There's no actual body there. Just sand.
Yuck.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Both interesting and disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, what's your book?
Well, I was reading from Lisa M. Hamilton's work called Linux for Lettuce, but it was anthologized in the Best American Science and Nature Writing for 2015.
Wow, cool.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Edited by Rebecca Skloot.
Ooh. Right, okay. Mine was another quote from another Dresden Files book. I'm still working my way through them. This is book 15. I have 2 more before I'm completely caught up with the author.
So they are really good, so I should read them.
But yeah, I really enjoy his style of writing. The world he builds is very, very rich, and the main character is snarky as hell. I love it. This is one of the quotes from the main character who is put in a situation where he's faced with donuts that were provided by someone he hates. But he has to eat them anyway, because there's all kinds of interesting.
The donuts turn to ash in your mouth.
Yeah, it's
But still donuts.
very, very cool. This one's called Skin Game, but it's the 15th book, and this one I'm also listening to as an audiobook, and it's the same guy who has done all the audiobooks for the series, and he's great in the role. So.
All of them are available on audio?
Yes.
It
The
could be
entire
good fodder for maybe a cross-country trip?
Yeah.
Perhaps.
With my kids?
Probably, yeah. Yep. Anything else we got to talk about?
Yeah.
Going once, going twice. Okay, thanks, guys, everybody, for watching. I'm sorry.
So am I,
I'm
Brian.
not,
So am I.
not Canadian. Okay, this is the show. This is the logo. This is the music. The Virtual Skeptics has been da-da-da-da-da. I'm looking for my notes. There it is. Virtual Skeptics is an independent production of What's the Harm.net. Skeptical Manning is myself, ICBS everywhere, and Alpha News. Our logo is designed by Sarah Benu at sarahbenu.com, and our theme music is Fine Music Hands and used with permission. Really, thanks for watching. I'm not really sorry. I don't know. Maybe.
I regret nothing!